one reason that I think that Donald Trump specifically won this election was also because I think that the left, like you admitted earlier, is notorious for violence, right? We had the BLM riots, the Chaz that happened, right, in Seattle, the Tesla burnings. So I think a lot of the people that voted for Trump was also noticing that the left is absolutely lunatics when it comes to this type of rhetoric. And Maxine Waters, even in 2016, when she was, when Trump won his first term, where she was saying, get in the face of MAGA supporters. When I was, because I'm from South Texas, I would wear a fucking MAGA hat at a bar, and I was getting attacked by people that didn't like that. I think this is what drove a lot of people towards Donald Trump to vote for him. Wouldn't you say?
It's possible. But
don't you think it's kind of a big deal, though?
No, because I think that they don't talk about any of the violence that their side is ever supporting, either explicitly or implicitly, at all points in time as well. So how am I supposed to feel bad that people are complaining about Tesla dealerships being burned down, but then they're clapping when people are being deported without due process from this country? I have absolutely no sympathy. And the fact that they can keep doing this hand-wringing of like, the left is so bad and they won't disavow these people, even though the left has to disavow its own side all the time. When Biden...
I don't see any of the left doing that, though.
I don't know how much you're looking at.
Well, I watch your show.
Okay, well, Biden example, literally...
you didn't even disavow the assassination of Donald Trump, bro.
I wish. It was the assassination attempt, okay?
Oh, yeah, the assassination...
I'm just kidding. Hey,
but am I right there, Destiny? Come on, man.
Just jokes.
Yeah. If you want to engage with the Republican Party, you have to start somewhere, and we may as well start with Trump.
But the problem is, if you negotiate almost anything with that side, you've lost fundamentally all the aspects that make America America.
Why?
Because Donald Trump fundamentally doesn't believe in rule of law or democracy or separation of powers or the Constitution.
I don't know if that's true.
Which part do you want to go into? He doesn't believe in separation of powers because he believes it is the ability to fight with the judiciary anytime he wants. He doesn't believe in the rule of law because he literally has criminal immunity. He's a convicted felon. Yeah.
I agree with you that he is not acting as if he believes in those things. However, I think he's just an opportunist, right? Like, he doesn't believe in anything.
I agree with that kind of.
So it doesn't. So,
but you can't work with an opportunist. This is a cancer, right?
You can, because the whole point of liberalism is that when you work together with other people, that's the best thing for everyone.
No, the point of liberalism is everybody involved has to believe in liberalism for it to work.
Well, no, because you have. Like, liberalism is all about individuals. It's all about how everyone comes to the table with their own idea, with their own wants. And even you can say everyone is just ultimately selfish, and still liberalism works under those conditions.
Would you consider it a liberal? If 80% of us all across the country agreed to abolish the Constitution, are we still a liberal society?
I mean, what did we replace it with? Did we replace it with nothing?
With a king.
With a king.
Because you could do that. Our Constitution could be amended, theoretically. That is possible. I'm just saying that for liberal, something that I think people don't give enough credit for is in any given group, everybody kind of has to agree to play by a set of rules. And when you start breaking those rules, you step out of bounds a little bit can be tolerated with, and you can negotiate a person back, but you can't play with somebody who wants to play completely outside of the rules. If you had a sibling and you played
I disagree with that.
There's a difference between playing with somebody who, if you played chess with a sibling and they make a bad move and you're like, I'll let you take that back.
Okay. Well, then you just play a different game. You play the game that they want to play.
Yeah, but the game we want to play is democracy. And if they want to play a different game, we don't want to play that game. That's what I was saying. We're playing the different game means we're fundamentally losing.
You can't just assume and assert that they don't want to play democracy.
I don't have to assume it. I just listen to what he says and what he does.
Where did those values come from? They didn't believe that 15 years ago. Suddenly in 2016... everybody on the left was pro-trans or whatever.
I don't think it was suddenly. I think that it's been a slow evolution of LGBT stuff and then LGBT stuff over time. I don't think it was an overnight, now we all are super pro-trans. I don't think that's the same as Donald Trump saying something at 9 a.m. and then at 12 p.m. saying the complete opposite and everybody being on board with it. I think there's a lot of difference there. Beliefs and views are going to evolve over time with people. I would imagine people on the left will probably be more progressive as time goes on socially. People on the right will push for their stuff socially. It just, yeah. Okay. So I wouldn't say that it's your values aren't rooted in some time period, and if they change at all, it was a sudden, unpredictable change.
Okay, so Trump embodies an extreme example of what you're talking about.
I think it's fundamentally different. I don't think the thing is, the problem is that it's hard to listen to any MAGA person talk about the things they value or believe in, because it feels like at the end of the day, what they actually value or believe in is whatever Trump says tomorrow. So there are no limiting principles. Like one of the things we would debate a lot for economics, and people were talking about presidential people would bring up, what is the economy going to look like under both people? And I thought, largely speaking, the Democrats ran it way better. And sometimes people would give me this, like, what about when Kamala said that she would do a wealth tax or tax on unrealized gains? And my response would always be, I think that's so beyond stupid. I'm not even worried about it because there's just no way that she would be able to do it. Because if she were to go in and try to do something like that, every economic advisor, whoever the Treasury cabinet, like everybody would say, like, this is so stupid. You're not doing this. It's dumb. And she'd be like, oh, okay, fine. Because that's just how the Democratic Party operates. Whereas Donald Trump, we've seen what Donald Trump has done. He'll literally from hour to hour can change stuff internationally in ways that we didn't even know were possible. It's so abhorrent. But all the Republicans seem to more or less in the media and in the political sphere are in lockstep with his messaging no matter what he says, even if they've got to change what they said a few hours earlier. And that's really scary, I think. Donald Trump, in his first term, tried to deport every single person that was brought here as a minor under DACA. Those people didn't do anything wrong. Those people are registered with the government. They're not committing crimes. They're going to school here. Like, all of those are good people. I didn't hear a single word from any Republican about how absolutely fucking horrific it would be to just kick every single one of those children out of this country. But I'm supposed to have like an unlimited reservoir of sympathy for a guy who supposedly God guided the bullet into, I guess, if you listen to half the troubles when they talk about that assassination attempt. Like, I'm sorry, but like the guy on Twitter was just as unhinged as every other trouble. What was he saying? Like, there were a few things. One, I think a joke about the nuking Japan or something, and something about like choosing Putin over Hillary to be president or some just unhinged shit. Again, I don't necessarily think anybody deserves to die or anything for political stuff, but even when I just said right there, like for political stuff, like what is just political stuff to some people is a deportation for another person, or an unjust incarceration for another person, or the deprivation of material economic conditions for another person, or the ability to do scientific research, or to administer a vaccine, or to study in this country, or to, trade in a way that keeps your business working abroad. Like, all of those types of violence just fly completely under the radar. And then when there's like one visceral piece of violence, all of a sudden Republicans are running around searching for sympathy. And it's like, bro.
But don't you think we on the left should be like better than the people on the right? Like, that's the whole, that's our whole thing, of being on the left.
Yeah, I think the way you be better is just don't be the one that pulls the trigger. But I mean, you don't have to go out here and like endlessly appease people that are shitting on your side, that are celebrating violence on your side, that are clapping like retarded seals every time Ketamine Musk is, on Twitter tweeting out the next retarded fucking thing about some judge. Like, no, I don't think there has to be any obligation. But do you think anybody remembers that that Biden and Kamala disavowed the BLM riots, that they said that rioting and violence is unacceptable? Because they did say that, but nobody cares. And Donald Trump went ahead and pardoned every single J6er after most conservative media said, well, maybe he just shouldn't pardon the violent ones. He pardoned all of them. Nobody cared. Republicans didn't say a single, there wasn't a word said about that. So if that's the game that we're playing, I don't believe there's a virtue in losing political power to try to uphold some other virtue. I just don't think that that's good. It's not.
Okay.
Do you want to be like I don't know. It's like being like the best swimmer on the Titanic. Like, who cares? Like, if the country is like literally sinking into the ocean on the backs of this insane, I would say, cult movement that exists right now on the right. And one of the concerns we have to talk about is whether or not the left is apologetic enough when someone on the right gets shot or whatever. Like, that's just not the conversation I think we should be having. I think, yeah.
Okay. So, okay, cool. Okay. How about?
So again, that's where me casting a last minute vote, because that's basically what it was. I was just a very undecided voter. I would like to have a third party in, but again,
I'm still trying to figure out what was it about Trump where you're like, this guy's going to be the better one than Kamala. Like,
it wasn't
what one issue.
It wasn't really that. It was more so just that I weighed the negatives of both, and I'm like, I don't know what could be correct.
What were the negatives that you weighed for Kamala?
Well, again, the unrealized capital gains, which you said, again, which I agree with you.
Happen, right?
No, I agree with you. That would never happen.
Okay.
But that's where there were things with Trump where I did not at all anticipate that he would have this gigantic MAGA base behind him. I thought, okay, well, there's got to be someone who will hold him accountable.
Didn't he literally say that though coming in? Wasn't he saying, like, we saw J.D. Vance saying he would have supported him on January 20th. He would have voted for him.
Oh yeah.
We saw that he was trying to find people who were loyalists to him the whole time. You saw him try to fire everybody in the final weeks of his presidency last time.
Mm-hmm.
Did we just expect that he was going to fail at everything again, I guess?
I guess fail at that, yes. Not fail at everything, but fail at bringing all loyalists in, and maybe he would it would be a little evened off. Was at least my hope. Yeah, but that
That's just it. It's crazy to me that like we could have either voted for Kamala, and our biggest worry was an unrealized capital gains tax, which probably would have never happened. And I'm just making an assumption here, but I'm guessing you don't have hundreds of millions of dollars in unrealized.
Oh no, not at all. It was just no.
So
I
it's
would
not
love
even-
that.
okay.
Yeah.
So there was that, and then for Donald Trump, it was like there's the potential for all of this absolutely horrible, atrocious stuff to happen, but I don't think he'll pick the right people to make that happen. Like, I feel like if I was just looking at both of these candidates without knowing anything about America or elections or whatever, and somebody's like, well, on this side, you got a candidate who might do maybe a bad thing, but probably not. And then this other guy, he could actually be Hitler 2.0, but he probably won't be because you'll have people around him that'll stop him from doing that. This seems like an easy choice. So I'm trying to figure out what is driving us away from one or towards the other.
It's mainly just, I guess, the driving factor was just the hope behind it. So they're just the hope of that wouldn't happen.
Well, no, but what would happen? It was a hope that he would just show up and die, or what is like the hope?
No.
What are we hoping that would happen?
No. I guess what I was hoping what would happen was the economy would continue to build in a better way. Not that we would
continue
because it was building.
Yeah, under
Yes.
Biden.
Yes, it was. I agree with that.
So why wouldn't we choose a guy that was building it? Wouldn't that make more sense?
Because there were certain things that